Squid, I think you should give up on your career as a
Don't you
DJ.
know, pump it up.
Can you hear me clearly? Okay, fantastic. I'm on the West Coast today, so good morning to those on the West Coast, good afternoon, and good evening around the world. We have a lot to talk about today. The Silks team has been working around the clock for a long time getting ready for tomorrow. This is really an epic moment for us because um, it's been on our calendar for so long, and we've truly been working around the clock um, uh, to get to this point in time, which we're beyond excited about. Um, Tomorrow is the inaugural Silks Mint. And the purpose of this AMA is to really go into the details so that everybody has a full understanding of what's going on, how it's all going to work, and a little more granular detail that may not have been shared in the past, and some technical details, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. But we want everyone to have all the information, all the alpha related to what's going on, um, and uh, um, and so I'll go ahead and start. High level details. Um, the mint starts tomorrow, September 29th, and the mint opens at 12 p.m. Eastern time, so you can't mint before then. Once it opens, it will be open for for 4 days, um, and we'll go through some of the details around the calendar later on in this AMA. The 2021 crop of horses that were horses that were foaled in 2021 and registered as thoroughbreds, we estimate to be approximately 18,500. Actually, the Jockey Club estimates that, and we're using their estimate. Um, that is the crop of horses that are being sold in the overall collection. And I'll talk about the different subsets and what are going to be available in the mint shortly. Um, the entire crop of the 2021 horses that were foaled in 2021 is approximately 18,500. Now, this includes horses that were sold publicly at auction, sold privately, or kept by the breeder. So there's only three things that could have happened as it relates to how these horses entered the market. Game of Silks will tokenize all these horses from this crop so long as they can be verified as living, healthy yearlings. So we make assumptions based on the source of the data that we acquire this information from, which has to validate that these are actually living, breathing horses. Because there are people that may have registered a horse when it was born, and that horse may not have made it. And so we want to make sure that we're only minting and selling within our game horses that reached the age of yearling as healthy, living horses. The sale is going to take place in a variety of different formats and phases, and I'll go through that as well in detail, and I'll also go through the philosophy of why we're doing it the way that we're doing it this year. So let's start with the inaugural mint, and let me just be clear. The entire collection is the crop of 2021 foals that are now yearlings. A subset of that collection are 10,000 horses that will become approximately 10,000 horses that will become a part of this mint. The inaugural mint is not available to the public, and it's only accessible through a mint pass that's granted to each Silks Genesis avatar holder. If you own an avatar, you can mint one unrevealed yearling per avatar that you hold. The mint consists of a maximum of 10,000 yearlings, and this is very important, the majority of which have been sold in a verifiable public sale, which includes those that were sold at the top auction houses in the country. Now, this is very important because philosophically, we're doing this to create a subset of the overall collection that includes some of the greatest horses of this crop sold in the public auction format. And so that is exclusively available to this community. We will be publishing a catalog of all the yearlings that are included in the mint, and we will also publish a subset catalog of those yearlings that are included in the inaugural mint collection. So not every yearling is going to be included in the mint because we're only including those yearlings that were sold publicly. As uh, as horses are available through private sales, those horses will not be included in this collection at this point, and we'll make you aware of that as that happens. Um, Horses sold as yearlings in public sales that occur in 2022 but occur after the commencement of the mint will be added to the yearling mint as soon as possible. And when this occurs, the catalog will be updated and the community will be made aware of the new additions. So to the extent that there's a public sale that takes place next month or the month after that, those horses are not going to be included in the mint today. So if you were to mint tomorrow, those horses are not going to be in the mint. They will be in the mint if you were to wait to mint till those horses were published. And the majority of public sales have already taken place, and you'll see through the publication of the catalog that there's more than 3/4, I believe, of the entire collection are already in the mint collection and available to be minted. um, let's see what else I have over here. Um, as horses are revealed, so as a horse is minted and revealed, that will be available for people to see as well. So you'll always kind of know what you're playing for in the mint. From a technical perspective, the mint is going to deliver an unrevealed token, which can be later revealed by the owner. So unlike the avatar mint, where when you minted, it was unrevealed initially, and then we revealed the token to everyone at the same time. We've designed this particular mint to allow the owner to determine when they want to reveal their horse. So there will be horses revealed randomly by the owners. It gives you control over that process. We're estimating that after the 4-day mint, we will release the ability for you to reveal your horses within 2 to 3 weeks of that time. We're currently in the process of building out some significant technology required to support this function, and we believe it'll be ready within the next couple of weeks, but 2 to 3 week window just to stay safe, and it's available. If it becomes available sooner than that, we will let you know. At the end of the mint, so upon the conclusion of the mint at the end of 2022, so the mint ends officially December 31st, 2022. If you don't take advantage of the first 4 days, you're minting at a higher price point, but the mint will be open through the end of the year. The remainder of all the unminted yearlings will be either auctioned off or listed for sale on the Silks marketplace and potentially other exchanges that we decide that we want to work with. Game of Silks will use a portion of the company-owned avatars to mint unrevealed yearlings. These yearlings will be sold to the public in various exciting live auction formats during the fourth quarter of this year. As early as shortly after the mint begins, and any of the unsold yearlings that were minted for this purpose will be listed for sale on the Silks marketplace and potentially other marketplaces as well. So we intend to randomly mint horses and create live auction events, really from both a community engagement perspective and an educational perspective, where we'll do a live mint, kind of like if you've ever watched live card pack openings, things like that. They're super exciting. We'll talk about the horse. We'll show you how to research the horse, to learn about the horse, and then we'll put the horse up for auction. And we'll be doing a lot of that over the course of the next few months, which I think is going to be super fun for the community, and I think it's going to actually just be a really great educational tool. So that's a kind of a brief introduction into the mint. What I'd like to talk about next is the yearlings that are not sold publicly in real life, right? Um, so a large percentage of the yearling crop is sold at auction, and then there's a percentage that's not sold at auction but sold privately, and then there's a collection that's not sold at all, where the owner of the broodmare decided to keep the horse. We will continue to add yearlings to the marketplace as the horses become available to us, and we can verify the existence of these yearlings that were sold privately or kept by breeders. And this is going to happen on a rolling basis throughout the balance of 2022 and well into 2023. There are a lot of ways these horses come to fruition, and we have the entire landscape mapped out and expect that over the course of the next 3 or 4 months, we will continue to add these horses into the overall 2021 collection. These are not horses that will be mintable through the mint process that we're going through right now, but these will be directly available for sale to the world through our marketplace. And we intend to publish this information to the community in advance of making these horses available for sale. So on a regular basis, we'll be pushing out somewhat of a mini catalog and saying, here are the new horses that are going to be available for sale in the marketplace. This is the date, and we'll talk at a later AMA about the methodology of how those horses are going to be priced, sold, whether at auction or directly listed on the marketplace. In the future, we intend to offer other formats for the sale of horses that are not going to be a part of the way we're doing it today, and just letting you guys know that there are a lot of different ways to introduce these horses into the market. And the inaugural year, we're really kind of introducing a variety of different formats to really optimize the process, learn from the process, so that we can optimize it in future years. A little bit of data on the technical aspects of the mint. You can track your eligibility of your avatars directly on the Silks website through the URL silks.io/racehorses. We're going to publish all this information to you, but I'm just letting you know that because your avatar only has a one-time right to mint a horse, once that avatar mints the horse, its claim for the mint or its mint pass disappears. And you'll be able to check on this site and search for an avatar. If you see a number of an avatar you want to buy, you could go onto our site and look to see whether they still have a claim for the mint. Now, in addition to that, and this is new, we are also going to be putting that attribute within the metadata for the avatar. So when you're actually scrolling through OpenSea looking at avatars and you want to buy one that has a mint pass, you'll actually be able to see it in the metadata. Of course, you have to refresh that data before you can rely on it. The horse prices we published for the mint for the first 4 days, they'll be the ETH equivalent of $500. Now, our intention is to set that price at the beginning of the mint, and assuming that there isn't any wild fluctuation of Ethereum to the dollar, we'll keep it at that price throughout the mint to avoid having to constantly update that data. So you should know that in advance. In addition, at the end of the 4-day period, the price will go up to $750, or the ETH equivalent of $750 through the remainder of the year. And again, this mint is not available to the public. It is only available to avatar holders. Purchasing methods. The two main purchasing methods for minting the unrevealed yearlings is MetaMask. So you can use MetaMask like you would do any traditional Ethereum transaction. You will also be able to use Venly if you want to use a credit card. And finally, internally, we may use Stripes for internal purposes to allow certain people to mint off of a credit card that don't have the technical capabilities. We did this for the tropical racing investor community in the first mint, and we may introduce that as well. In terms of the reveal, as I mentioned earlier, our owners will be able to begin their revealing of the yearlings 2 to 3 weeks after the 4-day mint concludes. And you'll be able to choose which yearlings you want to mint. So if you have a wallet of 5 or 10 yearlings, you can reveal all of them, or you can reveal individually each one. So if you decide I want to keep 4 yearlings unrevealed, you can do that. I'd like to speak a little bit about the randomization of data and how that works. We're actually going to have an AMA around this for people that are interested in the technical aspects of randomization and how we protect the identity of all of this. But at a very high level, you should know that when you actually mint is when the assignment of the random yearling is done. So when a horse when a purchase is initiated, the transaction triggers a hash call to a verifiable random function script. This is all technical stuff that's above my pay grade, but essentially it randomizes a selection and attaches it to the mint and converts the mint into a token that becomes your horse. And it protects the entire community and the entire process so that there's no way to actually access this data so that anyone can have an advantage. One thing that's really important for us is that our contracts are clean, and we've been very fortunate to have an internal process that ensures the integrity of our smart contracts. We are using one of the leading companies in the audit sector for Web3 to audit our contracts. So everything is audited both in terms of security to ensure the safety of minting, as well as to ensure the integrity of the mint for the entire population. We've invested a significant amount of money to do this, and it's super important to us. And we'll have, again, an AMA to discuss all of the randomization and the reveal logic prior to the actual reveal period over the course of the next couple of weeks. I'd like to touch on the OG5K promise that we made to create a one-time award for that community, and it required you to hold your avatar in a specific wallet from the mint date or from the announcement of that date to this point. And so I'd like to address concerns people had around not being able to move their token outside of their wallet with concern that they could lose those rights. And so what we have decided to do to respond to that concern is to equip the actual benefit of the OG5K and attach it to the avatar as opposed to the wallet. So if you own a 1 to 5,000 avatar, you will receive this benefit, and it will not be lost when it's transferred, and the benefit will be announced fairly soon. So if you've held it to this point, you can now move it, and the benefit will travel with the avatar itself. And our intention is to announce that benefit in a short period of time. So let's think of it as in the coming weeks. A little bit on the internal team and the benefits that we're giving to our team members who have worked so hard on this project, and our investors who have put a lot of money at risk to seed the project. As you may recall, in our inaugural mint, we provided a benefit to our internal team. We're going to provide a similar benefit to them, and I'd like to share that with everybody as we believe in complete transparency within the community. All of our employees and full-time contractors will be able to mint up to 10 horses at a discounted price of $325 if they do it in the first 4 days. They are required to own an avatar for each horse they mint. So they're getting approximately a 33% discount from the mint for the first 10 horses. They have to own 10 avatars or they do not get that benefit. If they own 20 avatars, for example, it's only the first 10 that they receive the benefit from. They will also each receive one free horse mint, and they will be restricted from selling all of these assets for 60 days from the date of the mint. Our moderators, who have been working diligently in this community, will receive 2 free horse mints, and they will also be restricted from selling their assets for 60 days from the date of the mint. And our investors, advisors, and strategic vendors will also receive the same benefit of being able to mint up to 10 horses at the discounted rate of $325 a horse. They must own an avatar for each horse they mint, and they're restricted from selling these assets for 60 days from the mint. So that's my announcement on the internal discounts to our staff, investors, advisors, and strategic vendors, and our moderators. I'd like to end this presentation with with some final thoughts and an explanation of some of our philosophy around the mint. And then after that, I will open it up for Q&A. So when you look at the 2021 crop of thoroughbred horses that were born and registered as foals in 2021, if you were to kind of create a Venn diagram, that's one big circle. The mint that is exclusively reserved for our avatar holders, our Genesis avatar holders, is a subset of that circle and represents the entire world of public sales, which includes a significant number of horses that are some of the best that will be some of the best horses in this crop. And that is why we're doing that. We wanted to create a format that was intended to give our community the first opportunity to mint some of the most valuable horses in the world, sold at some of the most prominent auction houses. And that's the reason we did it this way. The 4-day format was intended to reward our community with a lower price point than later adopters. So what's going to happen is when the horse mint starts, we're getting closer and closer to the beginning of the game. And this is really an epic moment for the project. People are going to start coming into this community very quickly. And we wanted to give our early adopters a more favorable price point and a benefit that was different from people that are going to come in after the fact. And people will be able to buy avatars in the secondary market, and they'll be able to, that are unminted, that have not minted or claimed their horses and mint horses. We feel like creating this benefit in the first 4 days for our early adopters was an important thing to do. The unrevealed format, the reason we did this in an unrevealed format was, again, to create a benefit for our community and specifically to create the benefit of a level playing field. In the traditional world of thoroughbred racing and auctions, you go to an auction and the best horses, or the horses that are perceived to be the best horses, will go to the wealthiest people, because that's this world. This world is made up of a lot of people that have a lot of money that can bid up these horses. We didn't want to create that environment in the beginning for our foundational community. And so each year, we are creating a level playing field where everybody gets an opportunity to mint a horse that could be worth $2 million in the real world without having to pay up for it. And that's really the reason we designed this process of creating an unrevealed format for our foundational community. And it's limited to our foundational community. This is not a traditional PFP mint. It is not a public mint. It is limited to a small, exclusive audience. The mint is a subset of the overall sale. So remember, and I'm going to say this again, and you'll see it in the catalog. There will be a catalog that you will see, I believe, beginning later today or early tomorrow. It's going to have all the horses that are participating, that are part of this mint. And that is a subset of the entire crop. The entire crop will eventually be available, but the subset of the horses that will be available to this community through this mint will be published in a catalog that you will see. Um, and those horses, again, are horses that were owned, again, that were owned and sold through auction, sold through public sales, and that's what the initial collection is going to be. Once the mint is complete, all of the horses in circulation will go into circulation, right? So everything will become a part of this massive collection of this crop, and there will be no more segregation of the mint because the mint will collapse into the overall crop. So when you look at all the horses that are in circulation, they will be the horses owned by the Game of Silks avatar holders, the Genesis avatar holders, horses owned by the public, predominantly traders that are looking to speculate on the horses, but not be involved in the racing of them, so predominantly pinhookers, and those horses that are owned by Game of Silks that will be available for sale. So that is going to be kind of the other side of the mirror when you look at here are the horses and here are the owners of the horses. And remember that of these communities, the only people that actually have access to the prize pools and the rewards are Genesis avatar holders. I want to repeat that because this is super important. Each year, we will publish a prize pool that will be associated with each race that takes place. So when a race is published, there will be a corresponding publication that will indicate how much money, what the rewards are going to be for each horse and where they place within the race. Those earnings are only available to Game of Silks Genesis avatar holders. So if the company owns the horse, if the public owns the horse but they don't own an avatar, they're not getting those rewards, and those rewards go back into our pool to be redistributed and potentially available in an enhanced format for future races. So that's kind of the general view of our mint from a philosophical perspective. I will say, personally and on behalf of the entire group that, there was so much behind the scenes that we're super excited to share with you guys. We'll be doing that in the coming weeks as more and more things become available to share with the community. We're working on a tremendous amount. Every day there's something new going on in this project. And because of the nature of the way we're operating the project, we can only share so much information until we're ready to share more. And so we disseminate this information as fast as we can get it to you in a quality manner, in a concise manner that represents our brand. And you're going to begin to see this almost immediately. So we have significant updates to our website that are coming shortly that are going to focus on the horse mint, functionality that will focus on the horse mint, information that will focus on the horse mint, lots of educational content that will focus on the horses as well. That's all coming very, very soon, and we're super excited about it. I've seen a lot of these assets, and I can't wait for you to see them as well. We have an incredible foundational community. We have a lot of momentum. We're one of the top gaming projects out there in sports, and we're just super excited about where we are and just have a lot of really cool stuff to share with you, and we can't wait to do that. So with that, I'm going to end my presentation and invite Ben and Squid to moderate a Q&A session for anybody that would like to come up and ask any questions.
Yeah, awesome. Super pumped up. I just have, I wouldn't mind to go over one more thing. So when you do mint through the 4 days or whenever you do decide to mint, it's not when you mint what collection of, if a sale comes later on, it's not going to affect. It's when you decide to reveal your horse, and that's through the catalog that we are presenting. It's from
Correct.
revealed, not when you mint.
Right. I think it's worthwhile just touching on that and just clarifying it a little bit, right? So when you mint, you're receiving an 1155 token that will draw a random number when you choose to reveal it. So if we add to the collection and you have not revealed your horse yet, that horse can draw from the entire collection of new horses. It's not when you mint, it's when you reveal.
All right.
Hey, oh, how's everyone doing? Yeah, I'm good. I'm just, I believe from the information that just came through that I've probably shot myself in the foot somewhat with my avatar collection. I think it's probably easier, although I think it'll be a short answer. It's easier for me just to explain where I've been from Silks and avatars collection until now. So that is, I minted 2 avatars in the around the first mint. Then when the parcels came and then the second mint came out, I swapped out my original 2 avatars and have minted 7 different ones. So I haven't actually got my original avatar from what gave me the OG 5K role or benefit. I'm guessing from what you've just said there, Dan, that means that any benefit coming down the line for OG 5Ks is not gonna. I'm not going to be eligible for that now. Is that right?
So Ricky, yeah, if you owned and held your original avatar, then you would have been eligible for the benefit. If you want to reacquire the benefit, you would have to. You're now able to by buying an OG 5K avatar prior to whatever benefit prior to the distribution of the benefits.
Yeah. I mean that's clear. This is my first NFT project ever, about 7 months ago. Still remains one of the best, so I'm not too downhearted about that. But yeah, thanks for that.
Of course.
Yeah, and kind of like to speak on the reason Silks did this is, we're very high on security. Also, giving people the opportunity to mint with Vinly, it would force you to move some of these avatars around. So through this system, the team came up with it gives the people the ability still to move their assets to ledgers and not lose this benefit. So that was the main reason Silks went ahead and did this.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. I mean, I think I probably I moved my avatars to a ledger after probably about 2 months of buying them, so I probably shot myself in the foot at that point anyway. So yeah, it is what it is. That's fine.
Hey, sorry about the interruption there when I was trying to come off mute. I was curious about the newly listed horses to catalog. You all mentioned that if it comes about of a private sale, something of that nature, uh, it'll be put out to the community. Am I understanding that correct? It'll basically be put out to the community and then it'll go right into marketplace. Um, Basically, so kind of first come, first serve. Is that right? And then how is marketplace only transact in ETH or stable coins, or is it via credit card as well? Just curious about that. Thanks.
Sure. Thanks for coming on stage. So we're working out all the we're in the process of literally building our proprietary marketplace so that we have an internal marketplace that allows us to do a lot more than can be done externally. We have a lot of really cool features within the functionality of our assets. So for example, fractionalization and syndication and things like that that can't be supported from external marketplaces, at least today. And that's a big part of why we're building out this functionality. I can't tell you if we're going to have the ability to allow you to use credit cards in that marketplace on day one, but it is on our roadmap. And we intend to create as mainstream an experience as possible for this platform. So we know that Web3 is a little clunky right now. We know some of the most successful applications of Web3 in a game like this take place where you can use cash and credit cards, and our intention is to offer the same functionality. It is on our roadmap. I don't know if it's going to come out in MVP in October or if it might take a couple more months, but the intention is for you to be able to transact in both ETH and using US dollars as well. I think that answers your first question. Did you have another part of that question that I missed answering?
It was about when these newly the new private listings come up that aren't part of the original mint and they get folded into the crop.
Yep.
Is that going to be on a first come first served basis from
Yeah.
via marketplace?
Yep. So what's going to happen, and I kind of want to say that this is all work in progress. We have it all mapped out, and ultimately we may have to tack a little bit as we figure it out. But I can tell you, we put a lot of time into thinking through this process, and the intention is, as these horses come out, we'll aggregate them, we'll push a notification to the community. These are the horses that are coming out this week, and we'll select. We'll probably start them with an auction, so that it's really fair for the entire community. Everybody bids them up, and whoever bids the highest gets it, and whatever doesn't sell goes straight to the marketplace. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, thank you for the AMA and congratulations on this very important milestone. This is probably the moment we've all been waiting for. And I just got two quick questions. One of them being, when the Skyfalls NFT got revealed, it was mentioned that we had to keep it for a certain period of time on the respective wallet we minted it on, or let's say the avatar, to claim the Skyfalls pyramid. And I just wanted to ask, just to be on the safe side, is it possible to move it now to my OG wallet, so to speak? And is there any limitation with regard to horse minting in that regard? If I mint it all from one wallet, sorry.
So there's no relationship between the mint, the upcoming horse mint, and the Skyfalls land, in the sense that you're minting off of your avatar, not off of the land. So when you mint, your ability to mint is going to be gated by your avatar's unclaimed mint pass. So an avatar has an annual mint pass to mint one horse each year. It doesn't matter at this point where you keep that avatar, as long as you're minting from the same wallet as the avatar. And the Skyfalls land does not have to be in that wallet.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. And second question, let's say if I decide I got 5 avatars and 5 Skyfalls NFTs, and a colleague of mine pretty much the same. So let's say if we decide to team up together in order to build a farm with 10 of these Skyfalls NFTs, do they have to be in one specific wallet, or will this be revealed at a later point?
So initially with the MVP, everything is driven off of a single wallet. We do have on our roadmap the ability to share ownership of a farm, and that will be coming at a later date. But initially, it all has to be done through one wallet and one account. You'll be setting up an account within the Silks metaverse that will kind of define all of your assets. There may be actually, and I'm not going to go into this in detail right now, but we have had discussions internally about having an account being able to point to multiple wallets. And if we end up rolling out the platform with that functionality, you would be able to achieve what you're trying to achieve. But I can't promise that will be available on day one.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yo, what's up, guys? How are you doing, Dan the man? I have two questions. So I'll start with the first one. I was reading through the paper and it mentioned that it's going to be two kind of tokens, but you in another AMA just mentioned that it's going to be one. So if you can walk me through the partnership token versus the governance tokens, are they going to be two or one? And yeah, how is the structure?
Sure. So it's actually a series of tokens if we have to get technical about it. The first token that you're minting is an 1155 token. It's the unrevealed yearling token. That token will be replaced when you actually reveal it by a 721 token that will represent your yearling. Your yearling will be that 721 token when the MVP comes out at the end of October, will be able to be fractionalized or replaced with 10 different tokens, one being a governance token and 9 being these limited partnership tokens. And that will all be seamless to you because when you decide to share ownership of your horse with other people, you'll be able to break that out within these different tokens, and that's how you'll be able to transfer the ownership. So lots of different tokens, but for right now, all you have to kind of think about is you're minting the unrevealed yearling token, which will turn into, when you reveal it, turn into the actual yearling.
Great. Thank you. And the other question I had was regarding marketing, because I feel like crypto is kind of niche, and this genre with fantasy sports is even more niche. So I feel like, it's gonna be important to push this project out to the mainstream. So I was wondering, like, do we have a marketing strategy for that? What channels are we planning to use?
So, Gabe, this is a big question that everybody has on their mind. And, we are obviously, we believe, I'll give you a very high level answer. So, we believe in the organic growth of the project. We believe that if we look at the momentum of how this project has grown with very little underlying it, right? We started with avatars, we introduced land, we're now introducing horses, and the game is going to really begin starting next month. Once that happens, we believe that there will be a significant accelerating growth within the community organically as there's something to do and create in value. And then beyond that is going to be when the horses start racing. And that's going to be really the culmination of, I think, the explosion of the platform. If you look at the trajectory of companies that operate in the same sector that we do that have been incredibly successful, we are leaps and bounds ahead of where they were at the same time in their life cycle. So internally, using the analytics that we've applied to this and our experience internally, we believe that we are on a trajectory based on the foundational community we have right now to not have to worry about any of this. Having said that, we're being very careful about how we spend our money in this environment, especially as it relates to the crypto community, because the crypto market is really suffering right now and we don't want to be affected by it. And we don't want to foolishly spend money in areas that may have worked in the past, but that are not working right now because because of where the market is. Now, having said all of that, there is a lot going on behind the scenes that nobody knows about that will answer all of your questions about how fast this community is going to grow. And I'm hopeful that, over the coming weeks that you'll be able to, this will become very apparent to the community very, very soon in the coming weeks. But we're working on partnerships throughout the industry, throughout the competitive landscape to really ensure a very robust launch of the platform in October. So we internally have absolutely no concerns around how fast this project is going to grow and how successful it's going to be. And from a marketing perspective, your questions will all be answered in the coming weeks.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the answer.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, great AMA once again. I did have a question on the syndication and the 10% tokens. I just wanted to know, do you need to reveal the horse before you can distribute those tokens out, or will you be able to distribute those tokens out when we do get them of an unrevealed horse?
Derek, thanks for the question. So firstly, you won't be able to fractionalize and syndicate your horse until the MVP is launched. It's one of the first primary functions, and that will be next month, end of next month. As it relates to fractionalizing a horse, with an unrevealed horse, firstly, cannot earn rewards for obvious reasons. In our MVP, and I'll ask Benny to jump on the stage if he's in the audience. And if he's not in the audience, I'll just wing it. But I believe you cannot fractionalize it in the current MVP, but there is a roadmap, and it is on our roadmap to introduce that functionality. But I don't believe in this mint you'll be able to, or with the launch of the MVP, that you'll be able to fractionalize an unrevealed horse.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And Squid or Ben, I don't know if Benny is in the audience or not, or if there's anybody else that can verify what I just said, but I do believe that that is the case, at least right now. Okay. So we'll go with that. And if there is a change to that, we'll make an announcement. You mean our total number of employees, investors, advisors, that kind of thing? It's probably, if I had to guess, I'm just doing math in my head. It's a good question. We have approximately 50 people internally within the company that are working full-time on the project. We probably have 20 or so individual investor entities. So it's under 100. I'll kind of put, and then if I add advisors, et cetera, it's somewhere around 100.
Good morning. Well, good afternoon, almost even here. Yeah, well, it's still morning for me too for another 9 minutes. But okay, thank you guys. Everything as usual is pretty darn cool. One question, a clarification. Am I understanding that at this point, the mint, the drop that's happening starting tomorrow will only include horses that have been sold at sales so far until you update catalogs?
No, that's a great question. The current catalog that's going to come out shortly is going to include any horse that was sold or has publicly been announced to be sold in a public sale. So I believe that it will include horses that will be sold in October that have not been sold yet. But the majority of the horses that are in the catalog have been sold already and were sold in the last 30 to 60 days.
That's a little bit different from the original. So that's all I was clarifying, is it's going, what's going to be in the catalog will be horses that have been sold or are going to be sold in the next 30, 40 days.
That have been announced. So to the extent there's a sale that has not been announced in which they have not published the catalog of horses, those horses may not be in the collection. But you will see everything in the collection in advance of the mint.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great day. Looking forward to tomorrow.
I am too, and it's always nice to see you.
Thank you.
What's up? Good morning. My question, when we choose to reveal the horse, and that horse is going to be revealed from a certain number of horses, and the number is around 18,000. That's correct, right?
So when you reveal your horse, you're revealing your horse from a collection of 10,000 horses Remember, we segregated 10,000 horses for our Genesis Avatar holders,
Yes.
right? So it's from a collection of up to 10,000 horses. The broader crop of 18,500 horses will be available within the game, but will not be part of the mint.
Is it a fair assumption to say that those 10,000 are the top 10,000 out of the 18,500, much like we're drafting the top 10,000 prospects in baseball? Like, is that assumption the same or no?
So I think that's a real, so that's a really good question. What I can tell you, I'll frame it in a way that I'll try to kind of keep it true to what the industry is all about. When you have a valuable horse, let's say you're a breeder and you have a horse that has the prospects of being a stallion, you typically will send it to auction because it will fetch a significant amount of money. You might sell it at a private sale, but some of the best horses in the world are sold at auction. That's not to say that some of these great horses are not going to be sold at all by the breeder. They'll keep them for themselves, or they'll sell them in a private sale. But the quality of a horse at an auction is typically a higher quality, and is indicative of the fact that it's a higher quality horse. Now, that's not to say that a horse that was sold for $1,000 in the real world privately it can't win the Kentucky Derby. And in fact, that has happened. And in fact, many horses that were sold for a lot less money than other horses have gone on to become some of the greatest horses in the world. But the probability of a horse being a top horse is greater if they come out of the auction of the leading auction houses. It's a very gray area, but people go to these auctions because they know they're getting the highest quality horses. It's no different than in any market. If you were going to a car auction, the expectation, a prominent car auction, the expectation is that you're going to be looking at some of the best cars that are available at auction today in whatever category you're looking for: sports, collectibles, antiques, etc. So that's my best way to answer the question. And the reason we did this mint the way we're doing it is specifically for that, to be able to give an opportunity to our early foundational community to mint some of the best horses without having to bid them up.
I totally understand that, but does the 10,000 set aside for the 10,000 avatars? Is it fair to assume? Am I assuming correctly that those 10,000 are what would be deemed? I don't know if they're ranked or these horses are ranked. Is it randomized?
They would be.
It could be one of 18,500 in the catalog, or is it no? It's going to be one of the 10,000 that we feel is the top 10,000 out of this 18,500. Does any of this make sense?
It all does, and I know it's very confusing, and we're trying to articulate it. We overcomplicated it, but we did it in a way specifically to create benefits for the community. And the short answer to your question is yes. Okay. These horses publicly represent, in the aggregate, are worth a lot more than if you were to take everybody else's horses that are not part of these auctions on a per capita basis or on a pro rata basis. I would believe that these are, substantially superior horses to the generic crop. Our goal is to create out of the gate a great experience for the community, and the way to do that is to provide our community with some of the best horses in the world that have greater prospects than an average horse to win races and become stallions and broodmares. And that's exactly what we're doing with this process.
Perfect.
Okay. Ryan Blaze.
Yeah. Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. This is my first AMA. Thanks for doing these. So I might be a little behind. I actually was an original investor or early investor in tropical racing, and so I got my first avatar, I believe, through that. I think 846. And so I think and maybe it's my fault for not being as engaged, but missing out on whatever the OG 5K role is and some of the other roles that I see a lot of the people they're very involved here now. What can I do, or what do I need to do to, I guess, maybe not miss out on any airdrops or future rewards that maybe I haven't so far? And then just second question being what you were talking about with the release of the yearlings, and this is kind of, I think, tied to a lot of the questions other people had. The reveal of that horse, you get that new token once you reveal the horse. Was what you were insinuating possibly better to reveal the horse right away to have the better crop before more gets added to the catalog? And that was my second question.
So the first question, to answer your first question, if you haven't been active in the community, I would encourage you to jump on the Discord when you have a moment and engage with some of the people within the Discord. Read up of some of the announcements. If you own an avatar and it hasn't and you haven't claimed land yet, I believe you still have an opportunity to do that. I would encourage you to look into that, because that is a very valuable asset that you don't want to miss out on. But staying active in the community is important, and we will, once we launch the metaverse, you will be able to establish an account, and there will be a stream of communication that will constantly be coming out of that account, whether it's via email or text or social media, that you'll be able to ensure that you're getting alerts and notifications of everything that's going on in real time, so you don't miss out on anything. The second question you asked is a good one. Do I want to hold my unrevealed horse until the catalog is fully populated? That's really something that you will need to decide on your own. I can tell you that the majority of the catalog is going to be fully populated with incredible horses, and you could sit there and monitor it and try to gamify it. Part of why we're doing it this way is to actually prevent that from happening. So you could gamify it and say, well, it looks like there are a lot of great horses still. I'm going to wait to see, what the percentage of great horses are, so that I'm minting it in a time where I have the optimal shot at getting one of the best horses. Except that there will, this collection, is going to continue to get updated, and there may be other great horses that come in. So I don't think there's a way to gamify it. I think that you can choose to, keep an unrevealed horse and wait around till the game starts, or mint the horse. Personally, I'm going to be minting. I think I own 30 avatars, and I'll be minting all of them, and I'm going to be excited about revealing them. I want to know what I have. I want to build. I have a vision for myself about how I want to build my farm, and so I'll end up with some horses that I want to keep, some horses that I want to syndicate, some horses that I want to sell. And I think everybody's going to feel that way. So getting ahead of the game, so to speak, I think is advantageous, especially if you have the opportunity to really do your research. These horses have a lot of attributes, and studying the bloodlines, learning about them, just like if you were playing fantasy football. I know I spend, before the season, before the draft, I'll spend 5 to 10 hours doing a ton of research and doing a lot of mock drafts and all kinds of stuff, just to get ready for the football season, so that I know who are the great rookies, who are the great players that are no longer desirable, who are the new quarterbacks on teams that, and what are their, what do I think their prospects are going to be given the rest of the lineup. Same thing is going to happen here. The more time you have to really understand the landscape of your assets, the more effective you're going to be at being able to make decisions that could potentially drive significant rewards for you. So that's my personal take on it. But some people may decide, what? I see a $2 million horse in the catalog that hasn't been revealed yet. Maybe it's mine. I'm going to hold off on revealing it. And maybe the value of an unrevealed horse in the marketplace will go up because of that. So lots of ways to play the game. There is no right answer. It's about having fun, and you can do it in many different ways. So hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. That was very helpful. And just to clarify my first question, I've been engaged enough to where I've claimed land parcels for 2 of my avatars, and I'm waiting on 2 more. I guess I just wanted to make sure that on having an early avatar, what I was missing out on or not doing that I should be doing.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Ronnie.
Hi guys. It's all right, mate. Yeah, just a quick one on the last point you made in the presentation. Regarding the Genesis avatars, you said that they will be the only way that you can claim or you'll be able to win money from the races. Is that exactly what you said?
That is exactly what I said. If you don't own an avatar, you don't get paid.
Yeah, but do you mean the Genesis avatar, or are you saying that won't?
Any avatar, you have to own an avatar. It does
Yeah,
not
I
have
knew
to be a
that. Yeah.
Genesis avatar. But right now, all we have available are Genesis avatars.
Yeah, I sort of understood it as the way you said it was if Genesis avatars was going to be the only avatar sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you for clarifying that. My intention was not to say that. My intention was to say that you have to own an avatar. That is your gateway to the ecosystem, and it's the only way that you're entitled to earn rewards.
Yeah, maybe I heard it wrong. It's just the way it sounded. I just wanted to
No,
clarify.
it sounds like I might have made a mistake too. So,
all right. Anyway, I won the avatar from the horse thing at the weekend. So thanks for that.
oh, fantastic. Well, welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers. Shenanigans, you're on mute. Still on mute.
Hi. I was just wondering if you could just clarify about the timing of the reveal.
Sure. So the mint starts tomorrow at noon. It'll go on for 4 days. After that, you can still mint at a different price point. After 4 days, we're anticipating 2 to 3 weeks before you can reveal. We will try to get it done as fast as possible. From our perspective, it's all about technology. We're building some really cool things around the reveal that we want to make sure are in place and working properly to create an experience that is attached to the entire process. And so we're just buttoning up everything. And that will be 2 weeks. On the outside, 3 weeks. On the inside, 2 weeks is what we're estimating. So that's the timeline.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yep. And then once we announce the reveal date, from that point on, you can reveal at your convenience.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. What up, boys? Sorry, I didn't realize I had 5 mute controls over here. Dan, awesome as usual. Appreciate the info. I got a pretty simple question. And I don't know how many other people. I know there's a few other people doing it. We formed a syndicate already, and we've kind of got the fractionalized horses thing set up with some trustworthy people. So it can be done if you have the right group. But I'm curious with the unrevealed horses, is there going to be a date? And I'm assuming there has to be where they'll all be revealed, right? So we're planning on minting, say 25, and then I know you're like, well, you reveal them right away. It's exciting, but I think most of our group is listening in on this. And do you have a benefit on holding out? And will there be a day where it's like, okay, well, races are going to start or whatever, and the horses are going to be revealed? Just curious. We're kind of thinking about from an economic standpoint, what the right move is.
I'll answer it just from, this is game theory, right? So I remember personally, I participated in a mint, in a high profile mint called Clonix. It was one of the first mints where you could actually control when you revealed. It didn't auto reveal. And you actually had to go to a site, you had to go through an experience, and then it revealed your avatar. A lot of people chose to keep their avatar unrevealed. It was a mint vial. It was called a mint vial, I think. And the reason they did that was because as more and more people revealed, if the collection had more valuable unrevealed super rare avatars, then theoretically the value of these unrevealed vials would grow. And in fact, it did for a while, and then it came down. So it's no different than, if we apply it here, let's say that there are 100 horses that are, uber valuable. In other words, we know these horses, regardless of, their ultimate outcome, they're going to make a lot of money, right? Or they're worth a lot of money for whatever reason. And if those horses haven't been revealed yet, then the theory is that the unrevealed horses are going to contain those horses. And therefore, they would go up in value based on the speculative nature and the probability that you could actually pull one of these. And that's the only reason you don't reveal it. The risk of not revealing the horse is that if the underlying horse wins a race, you're not getting paid.
Oh, so there's no date that they will all be revealed. You can literally leave it unrevealed for as long as you want.
Theoretically, yes.
Right, but yeah, like you said, yeah, you want to reveal them before racing starts so you can.
Yeah, and you can't, and if you're syndicating off platform, that's fine. But I announced today that it was on our roadmap, but I don't know if the MVP is going to allow you to syndicate an unrevealed horse through the platform. And the benefit of doing it through the platform is you have a liquid marketplace by which you can, trade shares of a horse where you can't do that in a private environment. So
right, without revealing too much about what we're doing, we basically syndicated 25 horses.
Okay, that's great.
So it's in the private market. So like all the other stuff will come, the tokens and all that, once the horses are revealed. And we're lucky we've got a group of trustworthy people that's
awesome.
We're syndicating with. You know what I mean? I wouldn't recommend people just doing it out there on with somebody you don't trust. But
I mean, part of why we built the tools to do this is to create the trustless environment. But I will say that you're one of multiple groups that I've heard are doing this, so it's actually quite prevalent within the community. Which is, by the way, I think a testament. Yeah, I think it's a testament to the excitement.
Yeah, it's a super cool thing that your economy, even like an unplanned spinoff that you didn't, that's happening. I think it's awesome. But yeah, thank you for answering my question. So that'll help us on the strategy side, and I'll bow out here to the next speaker. Thanks, Dan.
Sounds great. And I'm just going to say all of these, just in general to the community, all these independent developments that take place from within the community are signals of success, right? They show that we're organically growing independent of the core, which is critical to the success of a project like this. So anything you guys are doing is great. As long as you're doing it in a safe, structured environment, we don't discourage it. Buster K.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hi, great AMA. Thank you very much for that. Just a quick one with regards to OG 5000. Did I understand it right that if I go onto secondary now and start buying up some OG 5000s, I will qualify for whatever we get gifted or airdropped or whatever?
Correct. So what we've just done is we've moved the benefit from the wallet to the avatar, which basically means that benefit can be monetized by an OG 5K holder that chooses to sell their avatar versus waiting for the benefit. And
Gotcha.
you can get that benefit either by selling the avatar for a theoretical premium or by waiting and holding on to it. But the answer is yes, you're correct.
Gotcha. All right, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'll take a couple more questions if there's anybody else in the audience that hasn't had an opportunity.
Hi there. Thanks for the AMA. I just caught the last actually 10 minutes. I joined late. I had a work meeting, but I don't know if this has already been covered. But for syndication of the horses, I have a group of 4 friends, including myself, which all have avatars, and we're planning on minting a horse each. So if we want to syndicate amongst 4 of us, would that be possible? I know in the slide you've outlined that if you have a stable, you can syndicate 10% amongst 10 individuals, but how would this work if 4 of us want to syndicate at a stake of, say, 20% each? Just if you can give me some clarity on how that would work.
Yep, there are 2 ways you can do it. If you're talking about straight syndication, what you would do is you would fractionalize your horses, each of you, in your accounts, and then transfer to each other 2 tokens each, representing 20% of the interest in each horse, so that each of you would end up with the identical tokens, except that each of you would own your governance token theoretically. That's the easiest way to do it, and that'll be functionality that's available when we launch the MVP at the end of October. The other way to do it would be to, and this wouldn't be ownership, but it would be the equivalent to it, at least from a racing perspective, is to create a farm, and then all of you could stable your horses in the same farm, and therefore you'd be sharing in the economic interest, the rewards from your horses racing. And then eventually, on our roadmap, I've mentioned that we're looking into the functionality of creating the ability for people to share in farms and in the assets within the farm. So lots of ways to do it, but out of the gate, the easiest way to do it is to fractionalize your horses into 10 tokens and each transfer to each other 2 of those tokens each. And then you'll end up owning an equal interest in the horses collectively.
Okay, yeah, that was thinking along the same lines, so that's perfect. Thanks for confirming that. As far as a stable, so if we're going to own 4 private farms to house our individual horses, you mentioned like how this works. So say I want to, under my wallet, house 4 farms. Would it be a private farm or a public farm? We should have 4 stables for each of the 4 horses, but one person would have to own that stable. Would that how it work, or would it be part ownership for all of us to own shares of that stable and then therefore own tokenization of the horses themselves?
So in order for a farm to be public and house multiple people's horses, it has to be 10 acres. So if you have a farm that's 10 acres, then you can all house your horses on the same farm. Otherwise, you'd have to have your horses in private farms that don't have the functionality of allowing what you're trying to achieve. So you'd have to, in the aggregate, get 10 pieces of land, form a public farm, and then you could share in the use of that farm together. Also, with regards to, I know you missed the majority of this AMA. These AMAs are published, I believe, to YouTube, so you can catch up on it on your free time. And there's a lot of good information I shared earlier on.
Great, appreciate that. Thanks for the clarity.
You're welcome. Hassan, welcome. You're on mute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. In continuation with Sanjay's question, being part of 4, I was just like, as you said about the farm. So, in terms of, just wanted to know that since the land falls takes place down the time once the countdown is over, and we will have like each one has an avatar, 3 avatars, so he gets 3 acres, and somebody has 4, so that become 4. But in order to make a public farm, you need to have 10 acres of land, right? So, as you mentioned about the horse, so can that be done in a manner that like four people can combine that land and make a public one? Is that a possibility, or down the time?
So it's something we're working on. We know there's a lot of interest in it.
Yeah.
And we actually think it's a good thing because it allows people to enter the game and in a lot of different ways at a lower price point. And it also promotes collaboration, which is a big part of the thesis of the platform.
Right.
On day one, you won't be able to do that. The only way you could do it is if, and again, I don't want to give people advice, but you could research the idea of creating a Gnosis wallet, which has multiple signatures. Or if you're trusted friends, you could do it together. You put them all in one wallet. You create an agreement with yourselves as to how you're going to own it. And then as long as it's in one wallet, you can create a public farm.
Yeah, because yeah, go ahead.
But that would be the way to do it initially. And then once we release the functionality internally within the game, you can then break it apart. You could then figure out how to switch it around.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Everybody, thank you very much for your time today. We're